It's going to be a quick demonstration on how to go about starting a landscape. So the first thing you want to think about is, what are outside things? What things would you see if you were outside? So that's what you want to be thinking about as you start your landscape. What I always start out with is a horizon line. This is the imaginary line that separates the sky and the ground. It can go anywhere. I'm just putting mine right there. You can put it higher or lower. But now what this tells the viewer is everything up here is sky and everything down here is land. So now you can start to fill in some of the details. So I always like to think about things that I like in a landscape. So I'm going to put some mountains in. You can put mountains if you want. You absolutely do not have to. Basically thinking about, what can I put in here that would make sense for a landscape and so that I can fill the entire page. A very important word to think about as you fill in your landscape is the word composition. Composition talks about using the entire page. How can I use the entire page effectively so it doesn't look like I just decided to leave some things blank? One thing we talked about was how to make things look like they're far away versus making them look like they're close. So I want to make a river. It's going to be like a winding river, and it starts way back at the horizon line, and maybe it kind of curves like this, and it comes down right into the viewer's lap. It's like right at you. In order to make it look like it's far away, way up at the horizon line, it's really, really tiny. But as it starts to get closer to the viewer, you notice what's happening. It is starting to widen out to the point where it's so wide it looks like it's right in front of you. If you can effectively create this tiny, medium to big effect, it will give it the look of, this is far away, this is close. You can also do that with some other objects. If I want to put a big giant pine tree right here, I might want to look up some pictures of pine trees, but I'm going to keep it really simple. It's such a big pine tree that it overlaps my horizon line, so now I need to erase it. It overlaps some of my mountain, so now I need to erase that. And some of my cloud. It's so giant that it almost takes up 1/3 of the entire page. But now I want to make some trees that look like they're far away. So now remember the effect that we're going for. Far away objects are going to be higher up on the page, and they're also going to be smaller. And they're not going to be as detailed, so you notice I'm just kind of very roughly sketching out some triangles that have the base of the tree down there, right? We got the stump way down at the bottom. And I'm doing this very quickly, and you can barely tell what they are. Things that are far away are not in great detail. So I'm going to erase my horizon line that goes through there. And maybe I want there to be a road that kind of goes along the side of the river. So I'm going to do the same exact thing I did before. It starts out as a line that kind of comes out at us. Maybe it goes off the left side of the page. It's really, really tiny right here, and it gets bigger and bigger. And as it's getting closer to the viewer, or it's getting lower on the page, it actually is going to get larger. It's a really cool effect that you can use. Let's say we wanted to have a house. Now, sometimes when you go to draw an object, it can be really intimidating because you're thinking, I don't know how to draw a house. But if you think about it like simple shapes, we have a square, and on top of the square, there's a triangle. If you think about it in simpler shapes, and one cool effect that I like to do is to try to make it 3D. We need to use diagonal lines to make that happen. So my diagonal lines are pointing up at the sky, and then they kind of meet again back here. And then I have to have another diagonal line that shows the side of my house. And now all of a sudden, it starts to look 3D because I've used diagonal lines to help show the side of the building and the side of the roof. But look again, that word overlapping is coming back. Your house overlaps the horizon line, so we have to erase it. I think I want to make one last house, but I want it to be really far away, so I'm going to put it higher up on the page. I'm going to make it really, really tiny. So just the tiniest little triangle and the tiniest little square, way up high. There's my diagonal line to make it look 3D. Now don't feel for a second that you have to do a house or a road, or that yours even has to look anything like mine. Landscapes can take many different shapes and forms, but now it's time to actually start painting it. When you go to start painting your Pointillism Landscape, what you want to think about is needing Q-tips, and you need your watercolor, all right, and you need your water. So those three objects are going to be very important, and you'll notice since the Q-tips are cotton that you don't need a lot of water. Just a little bit of water goes a long way, so we just barely dip it in there. You don't really need to sink it all the way in so that it's completely lost. And here's where you have free choice for coloring options. I think I'm going to stick with a basic green, and this is where the word patience becomes a very big thing. Since you're only allowed to use tiny dots throughout the entire painting, you have to have patience. This is not going to happen in one class. This will take you multiple classes to do. All right, and we know more water is going to make the color lighter. So look what just happened there. Now my color is barely visible. I want it to be a little darker than that, so I need to go back in for some more paint. And now my color is darker. Think about that word optical blending we talked about, where maybe if I put a little bit of blue in here, I'll get a really nice blue-green. Or maybe if I put some yellow down, I'll get a really nice yellow-green. So I'll go back in with some water. I think I might change sides because I don't want the yellow to get ruined. You will notice yellow is so light, it will pick up any other color that you put on top of it. You would continue this throughout the entire painting until the whole thing is covered with that pointillism effect. You might need to go through a bunch of Q-tips, but please do not throw them away. We actually have a container that is going to have the used Q-tips, and as we know, they are cotton, so they will dry, and they are very useful afterwards. After they've dried, you can use them again. So please do not throw away the Q-tips after you've used them only one time. They will dry out, and they are great to reuse. So this is your Pointillism Landscape. You fill the entire thing with dots. Really feel the word patience. It's not going to happen for you instantly. This is going to force you to slow down and really just enjoy the process instead of thinking about where's the finish line? When can I get this done? How fast can I do this? You don't need to worry about that. All right? Enjoy the painting.